Jack Ebling here with Lindsey Huddleston, and it's another Press Pass preview. We are here at Spotlight Radio Studios, 105 West Allegan, and just finished another episode of The Drive with Jack, but getting ready for next week and the Big Ten tournament. Before we get that far, Lindsey, there's a Big Ten championship at stake.
Yes.
Michigan State on Sunday, with a win over Ohio State, will lock up championship number 10. The Tom Izzo era. He'll be one behind Bob Knight and Piggy Lambert. But to do that, the Spartans have to get past the Red Hot Buckeyes.
Yeah, and Chris Holman, if I'm saying correctly, and his team, they're nothing to play with. Relatively new coach, last few seasons, maybe 3 seasons in, and he's been working really hard. So you cannot look past this game. I'm pretty sure of that.
Top 2 teams in the Big Ten in terms of 3-point shooting percentage. So expect lots of long ones to be sailing toward the basket, and they can shoot yourself to a win or shoot yourself out of a game in a situation like that. For Michigan State, hasn't lost a senior day game since 2012, ironically, to Ohio State. But it's going to be the last game for Cassius Winston. Be the last game for Kyle Arns. Joshua Langford going to go through senior day festivities. Whether it's the last game for him, we don't know that yet.
Right.
And Connor George.
CG, yeah.
So for these guys, tons of memories, and I'm sure the fans will have tremendous ovations and show of appreciation. And then if things work out right at the end, might be raising a banner.
That would be great. My only concern is not like they could have scheduled this any other way, is that emotions can run too high. And I'm sure Coach Izzo and his staff are going to be very big on tempering those emotions so that they can make sure they can get the job done. Because just like just about every team in the Big Ten, there's no walkover teams in the Big Ten. And what better thing than Ohio State Buckeyes would want to do than come in and ruin Michigan State's chance of hanging a banner?
Well, Michigan State has ruined Ohio State's chances of a national championship in football a number of times. And this might be a little payback, even though Michigan State is not a matter of being number 1 in the nation, but they know how much these championships mean to Tom Izzo.
I agree, and I think the only thing that, one of the things that works in advantage of the Spartans is because it is senior night, there's going to be an outpouring of love, outpouring of support, just like we saw in past games, Iowa in particular, how the place was just rocking. And I think people will be trying to get back to that fever pitch, and that can help the Michigan State Spartans.
Psychologically, what about a player maybe getting too caught up in senior day? Family there, everybody, the emotions of it, and they lose track of assignments, and sometimes teams don't play well on senior day.
Well, that's a possibility, but Michigan State has a very unique resource for that. His name is Tom Izzo, and he's going to make sure, just like he did at the Penn State game on the road, that his players stay locked in, and I think he's looking for that opportunity. How important is senior day to him? It's probably important, but probably not as important as being back in the race and looking at a Big Ten championship, getting ready to go into the tournament.
There was a time not too long ago, in fact, we did a press pass preview after Michigan State's loss to Maryland, and we weren't thinking they were going to be where they are now. They could have an outright Big Ten title.
Wow, and it's amazing how that happened in such a short amount of time, in a matter of weeks. And you said you've never seen this. Other analysts have never seen this type of play in college basketball, and particularly in the Big Ten.
Yeah, the fact that now Purdue, if the Boilermakers beat Rutgers in Mackey Arena and they win one game in the Big Ten tournament, there's a chance they could make the field.
Wow.
They have wins over Virginia, defending national champion, Michigan State, and Iowa by a combined 94 points.
Wow.
So if they get in, that would be 11 Big Ten teams in the field.
Wow.
Just talk about the ones who aren't. Don't talk about the ones who are, because everybody's in. They could have a league meeting.
No, you're right about that, and you can't take anything for granted. So does that mean the tough play in the Big Ten is probably better preparing guys for a little bit longer tournament run, even if it's a game or two?
I think it helps. And I think it helps for the Big Ten that so many teams in the Final Four, the most of any conference, but haven't won a national championship in 20 years. So they've had a lot of teams there, a lot of teams close, teams in the finals, but they haven't sealed the deal.
No bias, because we're going to be heading to Indianapolis next week. But is the Big Ten Conference the best conference in basketball?
I think this year you could make that claim, certainly. With the depth, ACC is going to get 4 teams in the tournament, not 10, not 11, 4. And the Big Ten beat the ACC in the challenge back in November, and December. So from that standpoint, you would have to say this year the Big Ten is the best. Now that doesn't mean the Big Ten team's going to win a national title. It could be another one for the ACC, and they tend to specialize in that. But you mentioned the Big Ten tournament. I'm excited for you because it's going to be your first one.
Be my first Big Ten tournament, no doubt. Yeah. Look forward to that.
And probably the best going in that the Big Ten tournament has ever been, because you've got matchups on Thursday that are compelling.
Sure.
You're going to have some really good teams going home on Thursday.
Wow, that's amazing to be able to have the play like that, because you talk to a lot of people who are in the sports world, they're planning to get in on Friday, but like you say, Thursday's going to be a great night just as well.
And for people wondering, when do I have to get there? What do I have to do? Michigan State cannot play on Thursday. They've locked up the double bye.
It's statistically impossible. There's no way that they can play. Okay.
And they've only played on Thursday 3 times in 23 years.
Really?
So that's not a departure. They have almost always started on Friday. They've almost always had the double bye. But this year, they could be playing as a 1 seed, and that is the noon start, the 1 o'clock start in terms of what you have in Chicago. And then they could be playing at 6:30. So could be the 2 seed playing a little bit later. That's the early evening game, 2 in the afternoon, 2 in the evening, and a lot depends on what Michigan State does and what Wisconsin does.
Wow.
Not so much Maryland. Maryland is, even though they can share the title, chances of Maryland getting the number 1 seed, Terrapins would have to beat Michigan, Michigan State would have to lose to Ohio State, and Wisconsin would have to lose to Indiana.
Oh, okay.
That's the only way Maryland can get to be the number 1 seed. And a couple games ago, we thought it was going to be Maryland's. They had a 2-game lead.
It was theirs to lose, and everyone felt that. So tell me a little bit more with the time that we have.
Yeah.
Like, what's the atmosphere like? You know, it seemed like it's a high energy type thing. That's the feeling I'm getting right now.
Well, we're going to have a blast down there. Doug Warren might be with us down there. And it is one of my favorite events to cover. There are people who don't like the Big Ten tournament, wish it wasn't played. But if you like basketball, you're going to see 13 games there. And this year, all but a couple are going to be very competitive, I would guess. So Bankers Life Fieldhouse, where the Indiana Pacers play, spectacular venue. It is the perfect place to have a Big Ten tournament. My apologies to Chicago, Washington, D.C., and New York. Thanks for playing. But in terms of actually having an event that's fan-friendly, that's walkable, that embraces the event, that is Indianapolis, that is Bankers Life. And we have a chance this year for a sponsor, someone who wants to be affiliated with us, with our Dean Trailways of Michigan on the Road tour, to be a sponsor of our radio shows and come down and do a segment with us from there. They're broadcasting chops, right? See how they measure up on that?
Yeah.
You don't get press row tickets, but you do have a chance to come on, and we're going to have a great location. We'll announce that on Monday or Tuesday. And looking forward to that, and maybe someone who's watching this podcast wants to come down and be part of our team.
And we'll definitely sing your praises from the rooftop and be able to say great things. But that's an awesome opportunity. So I'm excited about everything that's going to be happening.
Yeah, it's going to be big fun. For Lindsey Huddleston, Jack Ebling saying...